All right, guys, welcome to the November 2023 meeting. We have a couple of things to go over today. Maybe. I might. Okay, guys.
There we go.
Let's make sure I'm recording properly. Okay. All right, so first things first. I wanted to go over, we're going to do this at the meeting too. We're going to go over just current costs. I want everyone to have kind of a good idea of where we're at. So right now for the website, we pay $54. PersCom is $10. OV8, that's our server, is $198. Google is $60, so a total of $322 a month. We currently have 6 subscribers, and that's going down by 2. I just didn't update this slide with the loss of Shadow and Arc. So right now, before that, that's $210.10 monthly. That's not covered by donations that myself and Lone Wolf have always covered. So for about the past 19 months, and I think I figured that out. It's almost $4,000, not including startup cost. So as command staff in here, again, it's not required, but as command members in here, I would highly encourage you. We all have buy-in. We all have in this group. Give us some help if you can.
Crazy and I have been always happy to pay for it, but it's a little steep. So we'd appreciate any help you guys could give. Thanks.
Right, Army rank equip.
Outside the box thinking here, is there any way that you guys can apply or can find some sort of like an educational aspect to it, or some sort of some way that you can declare yourselves a 501c and declare as a nonprofit?
So
yeah, I have extensive experience with that, and the short answer is no. No gaming group can be considered a nonprofit in any of our capacity.
All right, fair enough.
Appreciate it though. It's a great idea.
Yep.
We did look at that. I think he's talking about all the donations that we get. I pay taxes at the end of the year on. Is kind of why he's talking about that, guys. So, which is not a big deal. It's not very much. So Army. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Where's the So, and I apologize for my ignorance. Where is the subscriber sign up?
On the website. You know what? We're here. We're going to do this.
At the very top of the website, there's a donations tab, and at the very top one is subscription.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different tiers ranging from $5, I think, up to like $30 or $40.
So you can go right here to donation. You can do a one-time donation or a subscription. And there's different levels. So this one, in case you guys are interested, this is a donation plus it covers if you do the Google Workspace, which gives you a vCentCom email, and it increases our drive space on Google. All right. So the first big topic is we have an Army rank equivalency that we wanted to discuss. This is, I think most everybody here has already heard it. We're going to go over it real quick. So right now, when they come in they come in as a recruit for the Army, they become a WOC, which is the same as the MC4 and C4C. Then they become Warrant Officer 1. Wait a second. There we go. Sorry. Which is the same as MC1, C1C, and then they become a CW2, which is still the same as MC1 and C1C. And so a CW5 is the equivalent of a captain. In the real world, a CW5 is like a god. I think everybody here is aware of that, right? Like, they are the masters of the universe. What we would like to do is kind of align the Army back to everyone else. So a WOC is a MC4, C4C. A Warrant Officer 1 is MC1, C1C. CW2 would be equivalent to a second lieutenant. So they have 2 training ranks just like everybody else. Here's the rank equivalency portion of that. What we'd like to be able to do is we have people like Slim Cash and Replicant, who are both CW5s and are moving into XO positions Before they were told, well, you have to become a second lieutenant and then wait 6 months to make captain to be able to be an XO. What we'd like to do is, a CW3 is equivalent to a first lieutenant, and if the position they're moving into is equivalent to that position, they go straight to that first lieutenant. It's because they already have the promotion points. Promotion points would be specifically aligned here. The difference in CW5, it does give them one more higher rank. This would be, they must be an instructor, and they kind of have to be that know-all, end-all of their airframe. Correct, Ryden? I'm saying that correctly?
Correct.
So, does anybody have an issue with that?
Yeah, crazy. It was, as we discussed previously, where all the promotion points and requirements up to CW4 would parallel the O ranks, right?
Yeah, and it would even parallel. Major would even parallel with a minimum of 350 points plus additional requirements for the CW5. Okay. Going once. Oh, Grim.
I was gonna say the only thing that's different here, right, is the fact that, unless they are a staff officer or a squadron or whatever, in leadership, right, our guys don't go over captain.
That's correct. So they have that one more rank, that CW5, where they're like the expert of their aircraft. But on the warrant officer ranks, they're not officers, so they're not outranking anybody that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
so
it's-
CW5 is
Go ahead.
a CW5 would be like your instructor pilot of the airframe. They are truly the master of the aircraft. They know what they're
Yeah.
doing. They know the tactics. So
Yep.
The saltiest dude, basically.
Yes.
If we wanted to try and, I don't foresee people trying to rush to CW5 and then hop over to Major being an issue, but if we wanted to, maybe we could implement some sort of
They have
just a
to.
verbal agreement that hey,
They,
you want to stay an instructor, you don't want to take squadron command level stuff.
well, here's how that works. They can't go over here unless they're becoming to a major, unless they're becoming a battalion XO, just like normal.
Solid.
So that
okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I was misinterpreting what you were talking about then. So you're basically saying that, even though they're a CW5, they're not actually going to be, you're not transferring the CW5 to a major. Basically.
not unless
Okay.
they're taking over officer leadership role in that battalion,
Gotcha.
which is exactly what Replicant and some Crash are about to do.
Yep.
Okay.
Then I don't see any problem with it.
This is also going to retroact back to Badger. So, because he is a squadron commander as a second lieutenant, that's probably not acceptable. And his XO is going to outrank him. Okay, the next thing that we have is an Army thing. Currently, this does not show the current structure. So currently, the 1st Battalion is authorized 8 pilots total. So 4 birds. They're our smallest squadron. What Badger would like to do is he wants to push to kind of the same thing as the Lone Wolf did with the F-15s. He wants CPGs. So he has a structure change, and this is going to follow over to the 2nd Battalion a little bit if everybody doesn't have an issue. But so he's going to have his CO and XO, and if there's not CPGs available, they're the ones that would go without. And then he's going to have 2 more officers. So think of these as ops officers, except they're called company commanders, or not ops / division leads. But these guys would be in charge. So you'd have him and a pilot or CPG, because they're going to switch back and forth, and then 2, 4, 6 more people underneath of him. So this is 4 birds total here. 4 birds total here, with 2 birds here. So 10 birds, which is not unusual for our group. It's actually kind of common. Their goal is they want to be able to start moving some people into leadership roles with these company command positions and start training future leaders, which is really a very important thing, especially when you look at the Army's a little different, where the warrant officers, they just come and fly. Whereas you might have a captain who in your squadron for fixed wing who's really starting to do a lot more. The warrant officers don't. They come and fly. So does anybody have an issue with this? This is basically a charter change increasing their number.
The only issue that I can kind of foresee from this is that if we have a night when we have 10 Apaches up, we're going to have to pretty drastically change like our mission design structure to accommodate that.
Yep. Big thing with that is I can't remember the last time a squadron had 100% attendance.
No, agreed, but it's like we still got to kind of plan for that contingency. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's going to be mostly on his planning side, but RSVP, we're as something I'm going to talk about here in a bit, is RSVPs and really kicking everybody's ass on it, because things like this will be important. For the Army side, this is for the 2nd Battalion, this is looking forward into when the CH-47 eventually joins them. But it's the same structure, except for they don't have, there's only one pilot. There's not a CPG. So this is bringing them to 6, 7, 8, to 10
aircraft.
10 aircraft, 10 pilots. So does anybody have an issue here with these?
I think it's a good change for the Apaches because then they won't be using George.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the
George.
the goal.
Yeah, and George has like the Eye of Sauron, kind of like just for the F-14. You know, they can see, oh, there's like 15 things over there. It's like, how the fuck do you even see that, dude?
And it's going to increase. It's also going to increase their simulation in general because they're going to have to coordinate with that CPG. So I think that is a huge benefit to them. And with their current structure, they can put 4 birds up. So it limits them pretty significantly because if half of their guys show up, they have 2 birds. That's it. So that was
I think I'm going to echo Buckshot's concern, and I'm just going to go on top of that and say I think that would be a good concern to have. I'd like to be able to have to restructure our missions because we have too many pilots.
Yes.
I would love to have that problem.
I will also tell you, I know he's not here. There are some other things like he wants to, Badger wants to do the convoy escorts. He wants to escort the 2nd Battalion. He wants to get into the close air support aspects of the aircraft. So he has some lofty goals that he's working towards. So him and Replicant are going to have some work to do.
I'm excited for them.
Okay, so I'm assuming that this is approved. Going once, going twice, sold to the 82nd. Okay, into the Inferno server. I'm going to have Ryden brief this in a minute, whether he's ready to or not. But so we are going to put it into the Inferno up. We've had a lot of pilots who all the time going over to other servers are saying that, it's not dynamic enough or whatever. Our current servers will stay standing, and I highly encourage you guys to use them. But the Inferno will be up 24/7. It's a PG map. Pilots in training are not authorized on the server. If you have a pilot in training jumping on with you, use PG or NTTR. Squadron training may be done on the Inferno server, but squadron training must have a written plan. You have to actually say, this is what we're doing with flight numbers and objectives, and you have to use proper tactics if you're going to do a squadron level training there. This is not for us to, digress into a public, crapshoot of nothing. Comms still need to be used. This and that. It's just a little bit more dynamic environment, and works really. And if you guys are going to do some joint stuff, that works in there too. But our J2 team has put a lot of work into our normal training servers. They do a lot. If you don't know what they do, get with Ryden and he will tell you about it. But they're pretty powerful. Ryden, did you have a slide for this, or did you want to brief anything here?
I just had a couple of points I wanted to mention. Nothing too in depth on the briefing. What we have into the Inferno, it's basically just downloaded from the DCS forums. We put our scripts for Caesar CTLD for the helicopters, our tanker script, and our boat script into the mission. Our frequencies are all set, so that way our normal PG comms card is in, and then we added enough slots for all of our pilots and additional farps for the helicopters. Otherwise, it is just plain old into the Inferno. We left the initial briefing in there so you could read through how to request different missions and the whole thing there. We're going to support it as we do any other server, albeit at a lower priority. And obviously, if there's issues with the Into the Inferno and mission itself, that may have limited support just due to us not fully developing it. But otherwise, expect as normal. Use the bug reports.
Question: is our damage model or damage script in there, or splash damage?
I believe so. I would have to go check again.
Sorry, Crazy. Real quick on the Into the Inferno server. So this may have been discussed at the last monthly. But is this the third server that we have?
Yes.
That this is going on, or
correct? This is going to be on the third server. So we'll have PG, NTTR, and Into the Inferno now.
Okay.
So something else I wanted to bring up, it got brought up to me. We were asked about, can we do about bringing up more server instances? The server box will not handle it. We can't do more than 3. And with that said, you guys saw the finances. We're not buying another server box. So because somebody brought up, can we have a server that's just night or bad weather or this and that? It doesn't work. And quite frankly, we're at a if something's going on with server, Lone Wolf and Ryden and them have to put hours into it as it is, so it doesn't make sense. All right, staff. Fenton, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Currently, we're sitting at 70 pilots, 54 active, 11 in reserve. As of this morning, we have 1 in MEPS, 3 in UPT or F-18Cs. 1's the ASAT. I apologize. The Harrier. We have 2 pilots in the B course for the F-16 and the Fleet Replacement Squadron. We have 6 F-18Cs, 3 F-14s, and then 1 Apache and the 110. Next slide.
I'm going to jump in here. Just so you guys know, we went through, checked when people are flying, and everybody on this in FRS and B course is current and active. So that's 6 FA-18C pilots that have been flying in the last 2 weeks. So let's make sure we keep them motivated. Did you not add your other slide? Oh, there it is. There you go.
Yeah, so the 182, we got set at 7 active, 1 reserve. 282, their numbers have stayed. They've got 5. BF-74, 8 active, 1 reserve. 41, 5 active, 5 reserve. And then the 23rd, 6 active, no reserve. The 480th, we have no reserve, 8 active. And the A-10s, they've got 7 active, 3 reserve. And the triple nickel bull's still out on medical. And then the 334th, we have 5 active, no reserve. BCENTCOM staff, we have 1. Correction, that's 2 active. I apologize.
No, I should be the only one only assigned to staff.
Oh, I thought Lone was there also. Then that's my fault.
He's counted in the 334th as an active pilot still.
Okay. And then the 12th ACC, there's only 1 guy active.
2. We have 2 active now.
We have generic. Who's the other guy?
I'd have to go look. I'm about to kick all the rest of them.
Fair enough. This
Um,
next slide,
missed.
that's left over. Yeah, missed. I need
Yep.
to get with you offline so you can show me how you do that because
Just a lot of counting and scrolling. There's
so
no
literally
trick to it.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a way to scrub it or if you're actually going from start to
Oh,
start. That's
No, this is paper and pencil.
Okay,
In the past month, so not counting anything that's happened in the last 6 days where there's been a rough flurry of activity, we had 43 members join the Discord, 18 left. Of the 43 who joined, 5 of them were suspected bots, 2 of them were former members who returned. So we really kind of gained a net of 18. We only had 1 active member leave, and he was one of the Apaches. I think it was Blob. We had, of those 18 that we gained, 11 applications were submitted. All 11 were approved. Breakdown was 4 Apache, 2 Harrier, 1 Tomcat, and 4 Hornets. 6 of those 11 completed orientation. And then we gained 3 new active duty pilots. Each the Apaches, Hornets, and Harrier squadrons added 1. Note that is not from the 6 who completed orientation. These are people who were in the Tier 2 training previously, but they made it through the program. So our active member numbers went up by 3 and down by 1. So net gain of 2 active pilots for the month.
All right, J2. Little bit of J6 here as well. Miz and server status. I'll let Loon talk more about the server side. But as far as Miz is concerned, PG is back up and running. We've observed it to be fairly stable. We have not had time to test the Super Hornet mod yet, so therefore it has not been added. We've also not tested the new version with the data link updates, as the current version that we have on the server does not allow the current data link system in DCS 2.9. NTTR, we're working on bringing that back into DCS 2.9. Getting really close at this point. We're just doing a couple of ports on the back end to make everything work smoothly. As far as joint operations, as everyone probably saw, we canceled 1 JO this month just to leave us with 1 this month. Reason we did that was for a couple logistics issues on our side with the addition of the time spent on the DCS 2.9 stuff and server stuff. We are going to be replaying or retrying Ms. number 3 in the campaign. We'll also give a brief detail or a brief of that tonight at the meeting, so everyone's refreshed with what we had to do there. vCENTCOM deployment 2024 is in the works. The team's been putting a lot of work already into the planning phase of it, and we've actually started breaking ground on scripting. That's something we're still working on figuring out the map, and I actually wanted to bring that up tonight. We really would like to use the Sinai map for performance reasons and just the nature of the map with the campaigns we wanted to work on. So that's something we can discuss. Are we good for that, or are we going to hold off at this time?
Yeah, I bought the Sinai map specifically for that.
I think most everybody like reacted fairly positively to that. Lone Wolf.
Yeah, so last month we did do it. You know, Stumper brought that up, and we did a survey. We saw over 2/3 of all vCENTCOM owns the Sinai map already. And some of the people that responded, no, I kind of poked them a little bit and said, "Would you buy it if we put the deployment out there?" And I got the yes. So I think in what we talked about, back in the month of October, which is so long ago already. I think we should just go ahead and move ahead with approving Cyanide as a required map, with the expectation that they will have time until the deployment to purchase it. So plenty of sales opportunities coming between now and January, February.
So
Perfect.
guys, please. I have 2 things on that, right? One, during the meeting, remind me that.
Yes.
Missed, before I forget, would you put the missing slides into the meeting, the one that we had? And with that said, everybody here needs to know that we are looking tentatively at, the beginning of February for deployment. So look at your recruits, look at your numbers. Get your squadron to start working, building your IPs and start working with these new guys. Get new guys in and get your squadrons healthy for deployment. So February is not that far off, guys.
Not at all.
So
Yep, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, keep our current pilots happy, but start getting these new guys in, working with them, and let some of your younger guys, your O1s or O2s, excuse me, let them start taking a little bit of lead on teaching these guys some things if they know if you think they can do some basic instructing, and start moving them up to that next level. Okay, right.
Last thing I wanted to mention is who exactly is our J2 team and what do we currently need to be successful in the future. So I've noticed a lot that people think, or whether I perceive it that way or not, that I am J2, and I cannot stress it enough that I am not J2. I am just the guy that leads it and puts the server updates in that respective channel. There's a team behind us. I want to call out by name APOC for the mission development side, actually working on the MIS files and creating all of our joint operations. He does an excellent job. If you see him, please say thank you. As well as Buckshot. He's came in to help us with our storyline and admin duties of creating briefings, doing research to ensure that things like deployment are exactly how it may play out in real life with the types of ground units and air units that these countries have. So please say thank you to him as well. And finally, when Bull returns, he was the one that actually came up with the NTTR map and got that up and running early this year. So when he returns, give him a big thank you for that. What do we currently need? Well, currently we've only got me and for scripting and APOC for mission editing. So if anyone knows someone in their squadron that is interested in even learning mission editor or scripting, and you would approve them to join the J2 team, please reach out to me or have them reach out to me, and I'm happy to give them the J2 quote-unquote orientation and make sure that honestly we're the right fit for them and that they want to be a part of our group, because deployment's probably going to take hundreds of hours, and I want to reduce the amount of work on each guy possible so that way it's enjoyable for all. So please, if you do know anyone, send them my way.
I know Hustler was interested in that before he went on leave of absence. I don't know.
He's in this channel, so.
Yeah, I was actually just about to pipe up and say for 223, I was going to be the J2 point of contact.
Absolutely, and I know you and I have talked, so let's continue those discussions and get you in.
Ryden, let's bring that up during the meeting too.
I will.
Just be prepared for that.
Yep.
Can we back up for a second before we get to J3? Because I have a question for J2.
Yes, sir.
About the time and stuff that you guys have spent and,
Yes.
and everything else like that. And you guys do so much for mission building and everything else. Is the current situation with the superbug, is it actually able to be used right now, or is it still broken because of the data link stuff?
The current, short answer, we haven't tested it. We don't know. But what I can say is the version we have on the server, the data link option is not currently present in Mission Editor. And from the little testing APOC did with the F-18C, if that was not updated, we did not delete all the Hornets, add them back in. Data link was dodgy at best for him.
Okay. So the thing that I've been looking at, like time invested on multiple fronts, right? For not just J2s, but also like J6. I know Loans had a hand in this a lot too, is trying to make sure that the superbug is operable. But then I also look from the J3 side of it as the training stuff, and I see all the pilots coming in that are just, they're legacy birds. So my question is it worth the time and the headache that will be continuing to happen to keep the superbug in?
Here's what I say to that is when the superbug works, it is no different than any other aircraft in CENTCOM. It works just as intended. We can add radio frequencies, we can add it to the mission, we can copy it, paste it. Easy. It's after updates when it doesn't work that it wastes a significant amount of time spent on mission development, as much so that, I mean, me and a couple others have installed the stable branch so that we can keep doing mission editing after updates in case it does break.
Okay. So,
And-
go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Graham. Keep going with your train of thought.
No,
Apologies.
I would like to bring it up to everybody here about. I think what we have 2 pilots that capable or actually that may fly the Superbug when it's around, and we have a slew of regular F-18 Charlies.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Graham.
No, go ahead.
I'm getting a, no. I'm getting the delay in the feedback. I apologize.
Nope.
It sounded like you were
Go
done.
go.
No, I agree with Grim. Actually, we only have one active pod that flies it, but since the updates, it seems like it's causing more issues than being actually the capabilities of it. When you get up next to it, it sucks your frame rates, and it causes a lot of issues for a lot of people. With that being said, is the risk worth the reward to keep going with it, or is that something maybe we kind of put on the back burner?
Oh, that's something that I want to bring to everyone here. Of actually, like, let's figure it out if we want to keep it.
Stumper, you're gonna be the one I want to hear from on this one right off the bat. But one of the attractions of the Superbug originally, as it was presented, was that it would potentially bring more recruitment, right? Bring people that wanted to fly the Superbug, VCENTCOM. I don't think that's happening. Do you have any feeling as to why that is? Is it the bug? Is it the model status? Is it that not that many people actually want to fly it? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't really talked to any of the new incoming F-18 pilots, if they're even aware of the Superbug mod. So I don't have any data points for how well. I know we haven't really pushed the Superbug because of the issues that we've had, so we haven't pushed it through recruitment.
Sure.
And every orientation that I've done, that I've either sat in or even like pilots that I've run through on our, what do we call it now, the UPT. I've asked them. I said, "Are you flying the Hornet or the Legacy or the Superbug?" And it's always been the Legacy bug.
Yeah, same. I mean, on all the applications coming in, I haven't seen any wanting to go to the Superbug. And I don't know if we're not, like I said, promoting it or what.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that's the reason I'm bringing it up, because it's a cool mod, but I think the time that J2 has to use and J6 has to use to try and get it to work every time there's an update, if something breaks on it, or that, like, right now we have to wait, right, for whatever they have, as far as like the data link issue and stuff like that. We have to wait for the mod developer to actually fix it. I mean, it's.
Are we attempting to get rid of it right now? Because if not, I think that this is a conversation that we can have for like 30 or 40 minutes. So we probably should take the next month to get data on it, analyze it, come up with pros and cons, and then we can schedule a final decision at the December monthly meeting. But like right now, we're just having the same conversation we've had the last 2 or 3 months in a row at every monthly meeting.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that my understanding is correct with J2. So when the previous update came out, within a few days, there was a Lua patch for it that corrected the issue. We just had to then get it installed. We spent a couple days trying to do it rather than just waiting for the community at large to develop the solution and get it out. And then this recent issue, we've done it conservatively, thinking it was the Superbug, but the issue with the data link has been affecting the Legacy as well, correct?
That's correct, and we did find the workaround for the Legacy. The difference being with the Superbug is it doesn't appear to be getting updates with the legacy bird. As such, we don't even have the option to set the data link code on it, and as such, I mean, we can't guarantee the data link would even work at all.
So I feel pretty bad weighing in on this, and I honestly feel like I should stay silent on anything other than this quick observation, which is, if we've already had this conversation for the last 3 months, I mean, that's the answer right there, isn't it?
Agreed. If it's not doing the recruiting it was supposed to, and the current F-18 pilots aren't interested in jumping, or the big ones aren't, then it's wasting a lot of J2 time, especially at the busy season here coming into JO and deployment.
Well, not only J2 time, but J6 time. The amount of time Lone Wolf's additionally spent trying to get the server up and running too.
Yeah, I would pose that we make a final decision on it at the December monthly meeting, and that could be effective like immediately thereafter, because that gives still enough time to cross train if we need to cross train, and that gives time to advocate for recruiting and really push to see if it has the effect that we intended it to have back in, you know, June or whenever we added it. So, but like continuing to discuss it here, we're not going to come up to a, you know, massive epiphany of a decision, and so it's just kind of like we're tossing around ideas like we have been, you know. So,
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Okay. I have a alibi here, and this is kind of a J2, more of a J6 issue.
Yeah.
The F4 and F15s need to look at this, and Apaches need to look at this. The F14 Rios are not getting... they're showing as being on the server, but they're not getting flight hours in the back seat. At least that's what it looked like. I did some testing, and that's it, and I didn't get any hours in it. It showed that I connected to the server, but in the flight hours, but it didn't add any hours. Lone.
Yep.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so with that said, so I'm going to bring this up here with, and the big thing, I was looking at Zeus's XO, and I'm like, he's been with us forever. He's always on the server. Why does he have 80 hours? We need to figure out how we do promotion points for put our brains together for Rios, because his XO is sitting there unable to get promoted to 03 because of hours, but yet he's on all the time because he's not getting him in the back seat. Do we have a solution?
Yeah, and this is left only with the 14s because the Apaches and the F-15 Razbam, both of them built the model in such a way that when it takes off, the airplane model registers 2 pilots taking off at the same time. So it's only the F-14, unfortunately. I had discussed this at one point in time with Barb, that for that squadron only, I would input hours into our record tracker. If they track it and hand it in once a month, we would update hourly scoring to not mess up the rest of the teams. But that has not come to be, so I guess back to Zeus, giving me an hourly spreadsheet of the Wizzles that are going to be required. Not Wizzles, sorry.
Same thing.
Backseaters. Yeah.
So I was unaware of this issue, but it makes a lot of sense because I was looking through the hours earlier today with APOC, and I was like, "There's no way."
So,
today is my first time realizing that Grizz is like way behind what he should be at. I can go in terms of what I can do retroactively. You know, average time we spend for a mission, I want to say, is at least well over 2 hours. So we can go back through.
If you told me the days he flew as a Wizzo and who he was with, I could take care of it.
Zeus, with that said, if you want to connect to I think you should promote him this month. We have a promotion points variance issue. We all know about it, but he's been sitting there unable to be promoted for like 8 months.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in now.
So
if we know who the Rios are, can we just look at the server logs and just credit them time on server, even if it's not automatically going for the time that they were actually in there?
It doesn't even log him in the server as taking off. That's part of the problem.
Oh, well, you're right, but it would still show when he connected to the server and when he disconnected. We can just, I mean,
so there's actually
in the plane on the server is probably like plus or minus 5 minutes. It's not going to kill.
There's an easier way here. guys.
Yeah.
Zeus, your XO, your ops officer, have your Rios message you guys when you fly, verify they fly, and then you go in, you do a service record like you would for attendance, and you add the promotion points that they should get for that flight.
Please, I do want to keep the time accurate. Otherwise, we should just throw the whole stat server out.
Yes, you need to make sure you're being that we're being accurate on that. But
Right. My point is retroactively. You know.
Let's get together, Zeus. We can fix that. It's not,
and I apologize. This was something I realized like 2 days ago, wasn't it, Mist? So that's why we're bringing this up now. Okay, well, guys, we're running out of time.
Apologies, I didn't follow through with that because that was the Barbie and I had discussed it, and then it didn't go anywhere. So apologies there too.
Grim.
So, yes.
Anything big for you?
Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't put slides in for it, but again, I'm reaching out to the squadron COs and XOs. Please get with me about how we can start trimming up some of the more lengthy, like your fleet replacement squadrons or your B courses to try and get. Basically, I'm trying to work on keeping people engaged. And I don't mean to pick on the F-14s here, but the F-14s, skill board for their B course, or not their B course, their fleet replacement squadron, is pretty much identical to their actual squadron skill board. So they're basically having to learn every single thing, to be able to be in the squadron, which is great and all, but the problem is then you have drop off. We have people that get fully trained up, get into the squadron, and they just disappear. I feel like it's mostly from the fact of there's nothing left to strive for. No next ring to reach for.
I'll jump in here though that when I built this program, it was designed so they went to the squadron and now they're working on tactics. They already know how to use all the systems.
Yep.
So
and I 100% understand that too. But there has to be a balance, I think. Because there are some training programs for some of the aircraft that take forever to get through. Like the F-18s. Right?
One second. Hey, Lone. I have to step away for a second. I won't rotate slides, but keep us going.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's one of those things like the F-18's fleet replacement program squadron is that thing's lengthy. I mean, it's like super long. So, if we can I'm just trying to like brainstorm with you guys. Come together with me, message me, do something. Let's see if we can't trim off some of the things that are like not necessarily needed to get into the squadron. To try and shorten that up. And then they have something to also like push for once they're in the squadron again. That's basically all I had.
Yeah, I'm just going to coattail this as somebody who sees how these kinds of meetings go. Guys, everybody needs to meet with Grim before the next month's meeting at least once from an XO or CO perspective and go over that sheet. So by the end of November, you need to have met with him. And just need to put some pins in this so it doesn't drag out forever. All right? And it could be 30 minutes. Sound fair? All right.
Next slide.
Next slide. Yeah, I'm working on that. That would be J4.
Well, unfortunately, J4 is the arts and crafts department, which is really hard to showcase anything without the slides.
I'm working on trying to pull them up, but I can't get at them right now for some reason.
It's all good.
Here we go. I got it.
You that
you got it?
What we've basically got so far is we have, let's see, that both of the T-45 skins are all set.
Everybody tuned to Raiden?
Uh-huh.
Right, while we're looking. Thanks, Raiden.
A second to jump over there.
All right,
easy to do that.
Initiative.
There it is. Oh yeah, that's right. I swapped the order of the slides around. My bad. Recruitment video initiative. So a team has been put together of people who are interested in producing short hype videos for each of the airframes. The first one that will be released is for the F-16s because they already had extant footage available. It has already been edited together. There's custom music. There's going to be a short little intro at the beginning, just showing like the vCENTCOM logo and things like that. We have to finish producing all of that in order to really kind of unify these, but they are going to be hosted up on the vCENTCOM channel as part of our ongoing recruitment initiatives. We do, actually, this is probably worth saying right here, we only have about 2 months left for recruitment before we close cycle it again at the start of the new year and begin our final training push before heading off on deployment. So really try and make sure we're getting the word out about vCENTCOM, and hopefully these videos will be starting to come out sometime in the next month at least, to really give us that final push over the hump. As part of this, please do touch base with myself or Trojan. Trojan seems to kind of have taken the lead on some of this because he seems to have some of those skills. I know Generic is also excited to be a part of that, so you can also kind of contact him. But I will kind of be coordinating everything through the J4 department and can put you in touch with the right people. But we just need each of the airframes, each of the squadrons to step forward and be like, hey, this is a time when we can just do some fun, exciting, dynamic flying, capture some real big, flashy moments that they can get B-roll footage of to edit these things together. All right, skins for training squadron continues. Both of the T-45s went in last month, along with the F-18s and the F-15s. The F-14s are now done. They will be going in this month. I've got the examples here. We've got the color birds for the VF-124, and the next slide should be, the line bird for them. So those ones are up and ready, and they will be going in the next patch. I've also gone through and started to get a little bit of a jump on some of the promotions for this month, so hopefully we'll be able to get that patch out sooner than later. And then I think the A10s are going to be on deck, depending on what on what Arrow's availability is to some degree. That we're going to try and make our next push, but we're trying to do like basically one squadron's training jets per month at this point.
Yep, it's coming up. I was experimenting with the Black Sheep for the 8th AMU. But to be honest with you, I think that's a little bit too far out of my wheelhouse for the time that I have. So the F-16's 8th fighter squadron will be a little bit more basic than what we dreamed of missed, but I do think that they'll still be really nice.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we'll just touch base. I'll see if I can play around with it a little bit too.
I am back. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
Welcome back.
All right, so I'm not actually going to really be announcing much, but to say that in addition to the various debugging on the server that we spent a lot of time on 2.9 on, I have a couple of nice things in the pipeline. I'm not going to give you a delivery. I know everyone would love to hear this, but the short answer is we will be integrating both time of day and weather changes into the coming missions. That we're really looking to be able to, instead of necessarily hosting, I know this is one of the suggestions, 4 or 5 servers, one day, one night, is actually getting to the place where we can control the missions without mission editors having to be in there. It's a goal that's been identified between J2 and J6, so we're working aggressively on that scripting move so that we'll get that. Whether that's November or December, I'm not really clear on because there's a lot of moving parts. Locked ATC, although can be running, is currently, since the 2.9 patch, extraordinarily resource intensive, and the developer has already acknowledged that there's some issues in there. He fixed the bug initially that crashes servers, but it's still resource intensive. So at this point in time, I have chosen to keep LOT ATC off the server keep the priority of flight models and the SRS working. As soon as I see either a stub patch out of the beta release or an actual full release, we'll get that up and turned on for everybody. And then we have some lovely new work coming on the stats page. It's been idle for a while, so we have a developer that's finally stepped up, and we're working on that. So we'll be excited to reveal that. We're not even going to wait for the next meeting, so hopefully as soon as it's done, we'll make an announcement. You guys can see some of the nice work that's been done on that side of things. as always, I could use more programmers. You can skip the next slide, but so again, if you have PHP, come and help.
Okay, so wing commander briefings.
8 minutes flat.
Yeah, you guys probably don't have a lot. I'd like to welcome Ryden as the 82nd Airborne Brigade Commander. Do you have? We did lots for you today. Do you have anything else?
Nothing else to add.
CVW 17. Captain Stumper.
Nothing for the group. Thanks.
18th Lone.
Nothing from the 18th in general. The 334 will continue to be closed as we continue to develop instructors in the group. I think it's the only thing I can add. Grim or Arrow? Nope. Once, twice?
No.
No.
I also want to point out something on the 18th Operations Group. There's a goal here that you guys are building up your leadership in the group to a point where one of the two of you are taking over and kicking Lone out of that slot so that he is the DCG only. But you guys,
I don't take answers to anybody but Lone. So
so there's we're putting a bounty out for replacing Lone in the 18th.
Hey, they've already gone after all my stars in the last deployment. Don't even start to hint about that.
Okay.
Does that mean who can shoot him down the most wins, or?
So I did have one more big thing on this, and that I have time. Squadron leaders in that group on the video editing, little haphazard, but let's start reach out, post, hey, I need a video editor for that on this day, and let's see if we can start getting some guys in there to take some video and get some videos made for you guys so that we can publish them and really work on getting that final recruitment push. I am for the F-18s, just so you guys know, I'm starting to work on helping with your training program. I went up with Rico today. And anybody else that needs it, I'm going to start putting all of my flight time focus into helping get the 18s up, because you have a lot of recruits in there. Lone, you have anything else?
We posted this earlier that Ark has stepped down. He's still very much active with us. I can't say enough for his leadership over the years. The staff position, chief of staff, is going to remain open at this point in time. It'll just be Crazy and I in the top tier for a little bit as we make sure we think about, actually a good cage match. Who's going to take his place? But no, in all seriousness, I can't say enough about what Ark has done over this period. So we thank him greatly.
And I know everybody in this room are the top contenders for that. What I want you to know is the chief of staff, their primary goal in life is to wrangle the people in this room, the staff, and make sure that things are being done in the between all the staff shops. So it's not the most enjoyable of jobs. All right, and well, that was actually my next slide. All right, alibis, 5 minutes. TikTok. Okay.
I'm in an argument right now. Well, not an argument. There's a dude on the Raspbian Discord who's trying to tell me that F-35s get into fights in fingertip.
That's so ridiculous.
Probably
okay.
not.
Tell him how wrong he is.
Yeah. It's
Can we-
not
Alright.
that you're talking
So-
about Top Gun. Yeah. Anyways.
Can we?
not important.
All right, I'm going to discontinue recording.
Stopping. Yep.